Thank you very much for coming this evening. I'm Bob Holcomb, a board member with the World Affairs Council of Charlotte, and with me is Lubomir Stanbuk, our President and Chief Executive Officer. On behalf of the Board of Directors, Lubomir and I welcome you to what promises to be a spectacular evening honoring a remarkable gentleman, Phil Dubois.
I would like to welcome you to the program tonight. And as Bob mentioned earlier, my name is Lubomir Stanbuk, and I'm the President and CEO of the World Affairs Council of Charlotte. I'm delighted at the turnout this evening to honor Chancellor Phil Dubois. With an extremely busy Charlotte community calendar and numerous other commitments that pull us in all directions, I want to thank you for being here tonight to pay honor to Phil and the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, which has truly given so much to Charlotte and the Carolinas. Now, we have a number of people here with us tonight that would like to welcome and thank for their presence. First and foremost, we're pleased to have our city officials in attendance tonight. Our mayor, the Honorable Jennifer Roberts, and Ron Kimball, Charlotte City Deputy Manager. Now, being the international and global city that we are, we also have with us tonight 6 honorary consuls who provide consular representation in North Carolina for their respective countries. The Honorable Wayne Cooper, Honorary Consul of Mexico, and please stand and hold your applause till I get all 6. The Honorable Laura Meyer-Wellman, Honorary Consul of France. The Honorable Klaus Becker, Honorary Consul of the Federal Republic of Germany. The Honorable Michael Teeden, British Honorary Consul. The Honorable Claudio Carpano, Honorary Consul of Italy. And the Honorable Chris Domini, Honorary Consul of Hungary. Thank you for being here tonight. It is also our great pleasure to have 5 previous World Citizen Award recipients with us tonight. Let me introduce to you once again Erskine and Crandall Bowles, and hold your applause, please. Recipients 2005, Sandra and Leon Levine, recipients 2012. Margaret and Smokey Bissell, recipients 2013. Michael Tarwater, 2014, and Tim Belk, 2015. A special thank you for being here tonight to all of you. Now, our board members of the World Affairs Council of Charlotte help govern, direct, and promote the Council's good work and programs. Many of our corporate sponsors here tonight have a representative serving on the World Affairs Council board, and I want to thank all of them for their continued support. I would like now to ask the members of the World Affairs Council Board of Directors present here tonight to please stand and be recognized for all that you do for our organization. Thank you so much. Now, I would be remiss if I did not mention and thank all of our co-chairs for tonight's award dinner, composed of many prominent Charlotte business, academic leaders, as well as colleagues and close personal friends of Phil Dubois. Our co-chairs are listed in the program and include Beth and Tony Zeiss. Now, I want to note, and please stand up, Beth and Tony. I want to note that this year I'm announcing Beth and Tony Zeiss first on our list, as they're consistent and ardent co-chairs of our annual World Citizenship Award dinners, and always get listed alphabetically last. But not this year. So thank you, Tony and Beth, and the remaining of the list will be alphabetical, so thank you. So once again, Beth and Tony Zeiss, Sarah and Tim Belk, Kathy Bissant, Margaret and Smokey Bissell, Crandall and Erskine Bowles, Michael D'Aratoni, Sharon Decker, Susan DeWar, Teresa and Doug Drew, Alice and Art Gallagher, Lynn Good, David Hauser, Dila Jamil, Vicky and Jean Johnson, Fred Klein, Sandra and Leon Levine, Leslie and Michael Marcicano, Meg and Bob Morgan, Karen Pop, Joe Price, Sally and Russell Robinson, Pat Rogers, Laura and Mike Schulte, Ruth and Colin Shaw, Jennifer and Eric Stigerwalt, Ann and Michael Tarwater, and Michael Wilson. Thank you all for co-chairing this wonderful event tonight. We are appreciative of our generous sponsors for this evening's dinners, who are listed in your program and have appeared on the screen right behind me during the dinner. When you see representatives of these companies, please do express your appreciation to them for supporting this event. I would like to note at this point a special thanks to Phoebe Pressler, President of Spark Publications, and her production staff for the creative vision and publication support. What an amazing job they did on the individual invitations sent in the mail and the printed program that you have on your seats for this evening's event. Thank you so much, Phoebe. Thank you, Spark Publications. Finally, I would also like to thank and would ask them to stand and remain standing to be recognized, the dinner committee and the World Affairs Council staff, which worked untold hours over the past 6 months to make this event a success that it is. So please stand, Beth Fisher, Dr. Marie-Claire Maroon, Bob Holcomb, Michael Holy, John Lasseter, Oscar Krantz, David Jones, Joel Gallegos, Charlotte Klopp, Danielle Kobos, Lauren Osga, and Christina Dry. A special round of applause for our dinner committee and staff. Thank you so much. Now you might have noticed the beautiful decoration of this ballroom and at your tables. This is all done and made possible by a wonderful board member of the World Affairs Council, Dr. Marie-Claire Maroon-Cardus. Thank you, Dr. Marie-Claire. The ballroom is spectacular. The flowers are beautiful. Thank you for all you do. One more person that I just want to mention quickly, Frank Kiker. A lot of you know Frank Kiker. All the great wine we're drinking tonight has been provided by Frank Kiker. So thank you, Frank, for all you're doing. I'm sure you've been at places where you have these people who get a microphone and they just can't get enough of their own voice. So there's one more person that I have to mention, and please bear with me. Special recognition tonight. We're privileged to have with us tonight Dr. Isabel Powell, a long time council supporter who is celebrating her 93rd birthday here tonight. Dr. Isabel Powell, happy birthday. And thank you for being here tonight. So thank you all for being here, and we will now start with our formal part of our program. Bob?
Thank you, Lubomir. It's indeed a pleasure to be here tonight to honor our 2016 World Citizen Award recipient, Phil Dubois. Now, I know that virtually everyone here knows about the World Affairs Council of Charlotte and what we're about: education and dialogue on world affairs, and we do it really well. Our history begins, appropriately, with the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, when in 1983, Dr. Harold Josephson, a professor and international scholar at UNC Charlotte, formulated the idea of a world affairs organization to promote global thinking. And here we are, some 33 years later, performing that mission, thanks to the vision of Harold and the university. Our offices for the UNC World Affairs Council are on the UNC campus, thanks to the generosity of the university and the Office of the International Programs, who have provided us offices in the Health and Human Services building. And in line with the generous support that UNC Charlotte provides us, I'd like to specifically thank Phil and his Assistant Provost for International Programs, Joe Gallegos. Joe, I know you're here. We truly appreciate everything you do in providing us support for the World Affairs Council. Thank you. Now, as I mentioned, our mission is education and dialogue, and we go about it at the student, teacher, and community level. Now, at the student level, we conduct programs that engage students at the local high schools and college campuses, to include our signature Academic World Quest event, which is an international knowledge competition among local high school teams, with the winner going to the national competition held in Washington, D.C. each year. At the teacher level, our Counselor Scholars program sends local teachers abroad to experience an international education and cultural training opportunity and to bring that back to their classroom. This year, we're sending 9 deserving teachers overseas for educational experiences. And finally, at the community level, we sponsor events that bring foreign dignitaries, such as the President of Costa Rica last year and the Vice President of Guatemala 2 years ago, numerous ambassadors, national and world leaders, policymakers, prominent authors, leading business CEOs, to discuss current events that impact our lives every day. So, if you're not a member of the World Affairs Council, you should be. We want your inquiring mind and assistance in promoting global thinking, and besides, we really bring great live speakers to discuss hot-button issues of the day. So I want to thank you for being here tonight and for supporting the World Affairs Council of Charlotte. With that, I'm going to turn the podium back to Lubomir, and he's going to talk to us about our council scholars.
Thank you, Bob. As Bob mentioned, one of our teacher-level initiatives is our Council Scholars Program, whereby we select outstanding area educators who have demonstrated a commitment to international education and to whom we provide scholarships to be used to attend international conferences or advanced education abroad that will enrich their perspectives and enhance classroom experiences. This year, we have selected 9 local educators from the greater Charlotte area as Council Scholars and are pleased to announce our 2016 winners this evening. Janelle Styons, who is a principal at Lebanon Road Elementary School. Janelle will spend 2 weeks studying Spanish in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. Brent Bodie, a 5th and 6th grade math and music teacher at Charlotte Preparatory School. Brent will travel to Finland to participate in the Bridges Conference, a mathematics education conference with a focus on incorporating culture, design, and art into mathematics instruction. Elizabeth Immel, an 8th grade language arts teacher at Piedmont Open Middle School. Elizabeth will travel to Costa Rica, where she will teach at the La Paz Community School, which incorporates the same international baccalaureate curriculum that Elizabeth currently uses at Piedmont Open Middle School. Mariana De Luca, an English as second language teacher, with ELL Services Department. Mariana will travel to the University of Lancaster in England to continue her doctoral studies focusing on translanguaging. Gina Higgins, a 6th and 7th grade social studies teacher with the Military and Global Leadership Academy and Mary G. Davis. Gina will spend 17 days in Vietnam, Cambodia, and Thailand for the Global Exploration for Educators organization. Lisa Watson, a Spanish teacher at Charlotte Preparatory School, who will spend 2 weeks in Madrid, Spain, completing a homestay program and studying as part of the Maestro Spanish for Teachers program with Amerispan. Brandy Lewis, a school counselor with Independence High School. Brandy just attended the American Council Associations Conference in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and returned 2 weeks ago. Krista Isler, a 4th grade mathematics and science teacher at Rivergate Elementary School, will spend 2 weeks attending a Germany study visit hosted by the University of Chapel Hill's Worldview program in Germany. And finally, Alvin Irvin, a Spanish department chair at Charlotte Latin School. Alvin will take part in a week-long trip to Cuba, organized exclusively for teachers through a Cuban educational travel education. So please join us all in congratulating this year's Council Scholars and giving these inspiration teachers a big round of applause. Thank you so much, and we have fabulous teachers in our communities. We now move to the presentation of the World Affairs Council Harold Josephson Award. Each year, we select a deserving recipient who has made significant contributions to our organization and embodies our goal to promote global thinking and education. We are honored this year to have Steve Hunting, a board member and representative from the Parker Poe Law Firm, introducing this year's award winner. So please join me in welcoming Stephen Hunting to the podium. Steve?
Wow, the lights are bright. I can't see any of you. Thank you, LJ. It is my pleasure to introduce this year's recipient of the Harold Josephson Award. But before I do, I wanted to take just a minute to say a few things about Harold himself. Harold was a history professor at UNC Charlotte with an abiding interest in the connection between the people of the Charlotte region and people elsewhere in the world. He became Associate Vice Chancellor in charge of international programs at a time when many universities did not have a permanent international office and focus. He worked tirelessly to expand international relationships in Charlotte. And at that same time, Phil Dubois was Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs at UNC Charlotte and supported the university's growing international focus and, I'm pleased to say, the World Affairs Council of Charlotte. The award that bears Mr. Josephson's name has a long list of recipients dedicated to expanding the cultural and business ties between Charlotte and the rest of the world. It gives me great pleasure tonight to introduce this year's recipient, my friend and law partner, Al Ganeri. Al has been engaged in the international community in Charlotte for 30 years. As an attorney with Parker Poe, he has worked with clients on cross-border transactions and inbound investments and overseas joint ventures. He's been instrumental in working with people in Charlotte and elsewhere in North Carolina to promote Charlotte as a preferred destination for international companies to establish and expand their businesses in the U.S. Al's dedication to Charlotte and our international community is also evidenced by his many volunteer activities. Al served on the board of the World Affairs Council for many years. He chaired the international law section of the North Carolina Bar Association, and he's currently the director of the Charlotte chapter of the American Council on Germany. And in his spare time, over the years, Al has umpired youth baseball, which is not always a safe activity, coached youth basketball and soccer, and served on the board of trustees of the Fletcher School. Al, congratulations.
as Steve said, these lights are bright. Thank you very much. I really am honored to receive the Harold Josephson Award and to be part of an organization like the World Affairs Council, who support and build our international fabric here in Charlotte. Charlotte is an amazing city and one that is truly blossoming into a global city. There are many people to honor and thank for the opportunities and the growth here in Charlotte. First, I want to thank all of the people who over the years have volunteered time and effort to expand our international focus and our community focus. The volunteerism is so important for our city. People like Harold Josephson, as Steve mentioned, and his efforts. People like Mike Almond, who not only mentored me as a young lawyer, but really was instrumental in building the international business community. And people like all of you in the audience. If it's not for the volunteerism and the efforts, we wouldn't be where we are today. I also want to thank my wife, Kristen, somewhere out there. She has supported me in so many ways, but equally so, she commits time and effort and volunteers. She mentors children here in Charlotte. She and the Charlotte Padrinos support Our Little Roses, a girls' orphanage in Honduras. Things of this nature that build Charlotte and our international community. Commitment to our community is sort of my theme, and I'm proud to be part of that. I'm proud to serve and work with all of you and look forward to years to come for great things for Charlotte, and I thank you again.
And now, the reason that we're here tonight, the World Citizen Award presentation to Phil Dubois. Now, this is an award that has been given by the World Affairs Council annually since 1990. The previous award winners are listed in your program, and I think you'll agree that they represent outstanding, internationally known individuals of whom our community is very proud. Prominent Americans, such as Reverend Billy Graham, Dean Rusk, Elizabeth Dole, and recent recipients, Erskine and Crandall Bowles, Dr. Francis Robichek, who unfortunately is unable to be with us here tonight, Sandra and Leon Levine, Margaret and Smokey Bissell, Michael Tarwater, and Tim Belk are among previous winners, just to name a few. It's a very distinguished and select group, to say the least. Now, the purpose of the award, as you know, is to honor prominent citizens with Carolina ties who have distinguished themselves by accomplishments and achievements that have local, regional, and international significance. If you look at the life and the career of Phil Dubois, it's easy to say that he is the consummate educator and administrator, earning his undergraduate degree at the University of California, Davis in 1972, and later returning to serve on the faculty for over 15 years, where he rose to full professor, and he held significant positions to include Associate Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs. Now, Phil's exceptional education and administrative performance at UC Davis was a natural for his subsequent selection by UNC Charlotte to serve as provost and vice chancellor for academic affairs in the early 1990s. And he held this position at UNC Charlotte for over 5 years until being selected as the president of the University of Wyoming, where he served with distinction for more than 8 years, leading the university and making significant improvements in academics, support services, capital construction, and recruitment and retention of students. However, in 2005, the University of North Carolina system wisely offered Phil an opportunity to return to the Carolinas, which we are pleased he accepted, to become the 4th Chancellor of UNC Charlotte. In the past 10 years, as Chancellor, he's been a visionary and motivating force that has brought significant change and improvements to UNC Charlotte. With a faculty of nearly 1,500, a student body of over 27,000, and a budget rivaling many Fortune 100 companies, Phil manages one of the largest business institutions in North Carolina and has a direct and lasting influence on the most important people we value. That is, our youth and our future leaders of tomorrow. Now, it's difficult to capture the true impact and contribution of Phil Dubois that he has made as Chancellor of UNC Charlotte. If you simply look around this room, you see the high regard that Phil has held and the numerous lives that he touches on a daily basis. His reach and that of UNC Charlotte is much broader than you would think, considering that we are, in fact, part of the global community. If you look at the diversity of the student body and the global threads of business, commerce, and simple societal interactions that requires our higher educational institutions to become the catalyst for change, for the better. And Phil and UNC Charlotte truly meet this challenge. So pause with me for a moment and reflect on the accomplishments of Phil and UNC Charlotte as we try to capture the many facets of leading such a diverse and complex organization, which Phil does seamlessly. In the next few minutes, you'll see and hear some of the ways in which Phil, the institution he leads, and the regional community that embraces it are together building the future that makes Charlotte shine on the global stage. So please, sit back and let's take a closer look at how UNC Charlotte, led by Chancellor Dubois, has become an up-and-coming player on the world stage.
At UNC Charlotte, opportunity knows no boundaries.
At any moment of any day,
We, the students,
and faculty of UNC Charlotte
are in the world.
It really did change my perspective on the world. It wasn't just study abroad.
we bring the world to campus. Just meeting different people, I think that's very culturally enriching.
And we take the world with us. Many employers are looking for an international perspective. Charlotte's global business community demands it.
We have an increasing number of students going abroad. Many students come back, talking about their experience and suggesting that it is really one of the most important experiences they have during their academic career with us.
Yesterday we put the bridge in, and every day is a new experience out here, and I plan on growing more and more as a person.
I came to Peru to meet new people, experience a different culture, and help communities like Paru Paru. It's been an amazing journey so far, and I've loved every single bit of it.
It's a UNC Charlotte connection, but it's also the city of Charlotte. I mean, this is kind of our Charlotte pride here. What other city in America has a dig in Jerusalem? None, and yet we do.
So I'm in beautiful Jerusalem, Israel, and I've been participating in an archaeological dig, and it's amazing. Quite honestly, it's changed my life.
Everybody should take the opportunity to go abroad and to experience other cultures, because it really does open your eyes to the world around us.
really enjoy the people here in Charlotte. I think they are naturally very happy like me, and they're very welcoming. Yeah.
Charlotte is like a hidden gem. As an immigrant coming to the United States, you normally think of big cities like New York and LA, but Charlotte feels like home.
I'm Bosnian American, and I think and I hope I bring the best of both cultures forward in terms of the ability to see things a little bit differently and maybe help our students get better prepared for this global new world.
Culturally, of course, it makes a huge difference in terms of bringing in the perspective of international being. I was always with international students in England. In my own lab, it's very international. They just have to care about each other, know each other's culture, be tolerant to each other. I think that's a big advantage in life.
Providing an environment in which our campus can effectively and very proactively develop meaningful relationships with the economic region is really something that the Chancellor does extremely well.
We're chosen now to come and work here directly within the US. Our Chief Executive came here, his eyes lit up, and the choice for me was very simple because this is where we're going to be. The Chancellor's created an environment here which is very welcoming and open to the industrial university partnership, and we felt immediately at home here.
Our network of partnerships is very special to us. Such is the case with Kingston University. It's a relationship that we've grown and cultivated for over 3 decades. A testament of the closeness of that relationship is Phil's recent honor bestowed upon him from Kingston University with an honorary degree, and I think that is an outward example of the closeness of our relationship. As we consider the broadest internationalization efforts of this campus, and as we think about how it's flourished under the last decade, it seems that both Phil and Lisa have been extraordinary ambassadors and diplomats for the institution.
Phil gets including teams into economic development and education and bringing them together. I've been in more meetings with Phil Dubois, both as a governor and as a mayor, in which he doesn't just have academia in the room, but he has academia and business and community leaders all working to find the most viable partnership for the future. He has a vision on how to continue that outreach, not just on the campus, but throughout the region, throughout the United States, and throughout the world. And that's the strength of a leader.
Now, as is our custom at our annual World Citizens Award dinner ceremony, we like to have an introductory speaker who is able to provide not only a reflection of the significant contributions of our honoree, but also a more personal perspective as well. We are especially honored to have as our introductory speaker a former White House Chief of Staff in the Clinton administration, a former president of the UNC system, and I might add, a former recipient of the World Citizens Award. A well-known North Carolinian native who is no stranger to high-profile public service, please join me in welcoming Erskine Bowles.
Good evening. Crandall and I were talking the other day, and it became clear to us for as long as we have lived in Charlotte, our city has striven to be considered a world-class city. Today, we are that city. And for that recognition, we owe an enormous debt of gratitude to the leader we honor tonight. For it is a fact, there is no world-class city that also does not have a world-class university. And that world-class university exists right here in Charlotte today, thanks to the dedicated leadership of Chancellor Phil Dubois and the foresight of his predecessors, the remarkable Jim Woodward, Dean Colbert, E.K. Fretwell, and of course, our beloved Bonnie Cone. UNC Charlotte is today truly a world-class university. I had the high honor, the joy, and yes, even the challenge of working with Phil Dubois during the first 5 years of his chancellorship. And I assure you, no other university anywhere ever had a greater champion than Phil Dubois. Every day, and I do mean every single day, of my 5 years as president of UNC, Phil Dubois pushed me, prodded me, provoked me, beat on me to wake up and grasp the importance to North Carolina of having a world-class urban research university right here in Charlotte. This great chancellor truly gave me no quarter in demanding that UNC Charlotte get the resources and the respect it needed, deserved, and had darn well earned. Chancellor Dubois was determined to make sure that UNC Charlotte took a backseat to no other public institution of higher learning in this state, including my own alma mater right down the road in Chapel Hill. It was truly because of Phil's leadership, his drive, his strong will, his dogged determination, his perseverance, and that brilliant leadership of his that folks like me, Tom Ross, our Board of Governors, and the political leaders in Raleigh finally got it and came to fully appreciate the ironclad case Chancellor Dubois made every single day for support of a world-class university he was building and has now built right here in Charlotte. What a debt of gratitude we, the citizens of Charlotte, owe to this strong leader. Today, UNC Charlotte is that thriving urban research university he and his predecessors envisioned it could be, and it would be if they just pushed and pushed and pushed numbskulls like me just a little bit harder every single day. Today, UNC Charlotte has an incredibly talented student body of over 28,000 students. This student body and faculty and staff from around the world are a catalyst for global thinking, driving this city of ours forward in ways some of us never even dreamed possible. Today, UNC Charlotte is nobody's stepchild. It is the fastest growing university in this state and has accounted for more than 60% of the growth of the entire UNC system over the past 7 years. Today, its graduates populate every important business and not-for-profit organization in this region. To think we almost lost this leader truly takes my breath away. In the 1990s, Phil served as UNC Charlotte's provost under the great Jim Woodward. But in 1997, Phil and Lisa and their family were lured away to serve for 8 years as president of the University of Wyoming. At Wyoming, they enjoyed a very successful and productive tenure. But it wasn't long before Smokey Bissell, a prior recipient of this World Citizens Award, headed the search committee at UNC Charlotte that brought the Dubois family back home to Charlotte. Among the many friendships Phil and Lisa formed in Wyoming was one with that old curmudgeon, a true American treasure, my pal and cohort, Senator Alan Simpson. When we told Al about Phil being honored tonight, he wanted to be a part of a program by sending this video greeting. I can't promise you this video isn't R-rated knowing Al. But let's take a moment and listen to Senator Alan Simpson.
When Phil and Lisa came to Wyoming, let me tell you, we were struggling in ways. And then, of course, when he came, and his name was Dubois, and we have a town in Wyoming called Dubois. So one guy was wandering through that area of Wyoming, Dubois, and he went into this place, and he sat down. He was troubled. He said to this woman, "Now, how do you pronounce the name of this place and say it very slowly?" And she said, Burger King. When they were in Wyoming, they brought class and glamour, but more than that, leadership, tremendous leadership. And Lisa was a wonderful hostess. Wyoming University was the hostess with the mostest and the entertainment capital. Kings, potentates, princes, and all beautifully done by Lisa and Phil in their home, in their own home. And then what he did with the university and strategic planning and all the tactical things. And in that period of time, he did so much that even one board member, how's this for an accolade, said, "You know, the thing about Dubois that concerns me, he gets his way too much." Well, that was a bonehead that expressed that, but let me tell you, he does get his way because he has charm and he's precise and he knows exactly where he's headed. He'd tell you to go to hell in the way you look forward to the trip. He gets his way, but he's a man of great integrity, and Lisa is just one of the finest. And the pleasure for me and for Ann is that we came to your beautiful campus, and that's where we met Erskine and Crandall. That's given me great joy. One of the greatest guys I've ever worked with is Erskine. And so you have on that podium tonight Phil and Erskine, two very, very special friends of mine. And remember that all three of us wouldn't be anywhere if it weren't for Crandall and Lisa and Ann. So have a big one. I know you're going to live it up and sleep in the streets, and you should. And just know that you're honoring a tremendous man. God bless you. Have a great night.
That is a true American treasure. Phil Dubois. Phil Dubois is truly a world-class leader in this thriving place that is today a world-class city. His leadership and success have demonstrated how important UNC Charlotte is and will continue to be in Charlotte's recognition as a place people throughout the world want to live, work, and raise their family. It has been my own privilege to work with university leaders from around the globe, and I can unequivocally state that Phil Dubois is without question the finest administrator I have ever known. His instinctive commitment to diversity, to fostering a broad community of backgrounds and cultures, is precisely what we need in our leaders, particularly today. It is my great honor now to welcome the 2016 World Citizen, my friend, the fourth Chancellor of Charlotte's Urban Research World-Class University, the Chancellor of UNC Charlotte, Phil Dubois.
On behalf of the World Affairs Council of Charlotte, we proudly present you with the 2016 World Citizen Award. Congratulations, Phil.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is tremendous. I know it's getting late, so as Elizabeth Taylor said to each of her 8 husbands, I won't keep you long. Now, thank you again. You know, not to begin my remarks on a somber note, but when I earned my Medicare card this year, I thought I should start talking to Lisa about my funeral arrangements. Should I be hit by a truck while still sitting as chancellor? And I told her that I thought it would be important to have a big, expensive service where we could play my favorite country music, tell a few funny stories, and have my friends say nice things about me. So Lisa, this is it. You're off the hook. I've died and gone to heaven. Thank you. Erskine, thank you so much for being here, for those wonderful, generous remarks, for being such a good friend to Big Al and to me. Although he implied it, he didn't say it. During the 5 years that I worked for Erskine, he called me his favorite PITA, P-I-T-A, pain in the, you fill in the blank. What a nice thing that I could be a PITA and end up with such a great friend. Erskine, thank you. Thank you, Erskine. Now, let me say one thing about Erskine. I get a lot of credit for that Center City building, but Erskine put it at the top of the list in his first session as president, and that building is due to him. I appreciate the Taylor Swift music as we came in tonight. The Dubois family attended Taylor's concert here last year. I'm pretty sure I was the only guy in Time Warner Arena wearing a blazer. But like most of the 14-year-old girls who were there that night, I knew the words. Thanks to the World Affairs Council for honoring me and the members of my outstanding team at UNC Charlotte, many of whom are here tonight. We're delighted to know that UNC Charlotte is seen by you as one of this community's greatest assets, with much more to do. LJ, I know that you, your staff, the dinner committee worked very hard to make this a first-class event. You've succeeded. Thank you. When I look over the list of past recipients of this award, which included, as you heard from Bob, the likes of Erskine and Crandall Bowles, Hugh McCall, John Belk, Smokey and Margaret Bissell, Jerry Richardson, Sandra and Leon Levine, and so many other important leaders in this community, I thought what you are probably thinking. How in the hell did Phil Dubois get on this list? Well, my path to tonight is far more improbable than simply an error in the counting of the votes of the selection committee. If you have to know the truth, the fact is that my family circumstances growing up would certainly not have predicted that I would end up a college president, or that I would lead a university with such extensive international connections. In fact, my early life did not provide me or any of my 2 brothers with any international travel experience, except a long drive I once took in my Volkswagen Beetle when I was about 18 to go visit my brother who lived in Edmonton, Canada for a short time. The only time anyone in my extended family traveled anywhere out of the country was when my father went to Japan in the 1960s on a business trip. My mother had never, in fact, been to even New York until Lisa and I took her there when she was well into her 60s. And I will fondly remember that my mother's first morning in New York, she was greeted by a street person who mooned her. New York. It was my marriage to Lisa Louis Dubois that exposed me to the wonders of travel and other cultures. And as Al Simpson would tell you if he were here tonight, I seriously overmarried. And it has paid off. I would not be here tonight. I would not be anywhere without Lisa. Now, we never had a honeymoon, but eventually we took our first trip to Mexico, and I was in my early 30s by then. And it's because of that late start in my cultural education that I really feel so strongly about our young students getting an opportunity to study abroad as much as they can. I missed so much when I was young. As for that first trip to Mexico, I'm pretty sure that the Club Med at Playa Blanca was not a representative slice of Mexican culture. But it was a start. And I did learn that you could buy things with beads. Then Lisa took me to Alaska. Not a foreign country, but I could see Russia. So, over the course of our 40-year marriage, which we will celebrate on August 28th, we have visited nearly 50 countries, often with our three wonderful, adventuresome children, Logan, Taylor, and Allie, who are here tonight. And unfortunately, Logan's wife, Kimberly, cannot be here with us tonight because of business obligations. But we're taking Kimberly and all of the children on an Alaskan cruise this summer to celebrate our anniversary. They'll all be able to see Russia. We're also joined here tonight by Kimberly's parents, Debbie and Ed Scully, and Allie's friend, Oace Merchant. Thank you guys for being here. We're glad to have you. So wonderful that you're here. And let me make special mention of a group of colleagues from Kingston University in London, our oldest and most active international exchange partner. And I'd like you to welcome our Vice Chancellor, Julius Weinberg, and his colleagues from Kingston who are here tonight. Thank you, Julius, thank you. Both Lisa and I have to acknowledge the pivotal role that our dear friend, the late Harold Josephson, played in helping us get our international exposure. Harold was, as you heard, my Associate Vice Chancellor for International Programs during my first tour of duty in Charlotte as the provost. And he accompanied us on any number of trips to visit our foreign exchange partners in Europe and all the way to the Far East. That's also been the case with the current and wonderful Assistant Provost for International Programs, Joel Gallegos. Joel. Joel will accompany us to Bosnia this summer as we talk with our partners in Sarajevo about building upon that relationship. I'll note my debt here to Joel because he put my name in front of the nominating committee for this recognition tonight, so I owe you big time. Thank you. Our objective with all of these visits, of course, is to open new opportunities for our faculty and for our students, and we've had that kind of success. In 2005, we sent about 379 students on study abroad. This past year, we sent 675 students to more than 50 partner institutions around the globe, an 80% increase in students over the decade and a tripling of the exchange sites that we have. We have a lot more to do, particularly in terms of identifying scholarship monies to help our students travel abroad if you want to change a life, write a check to send a student abroad. As you saw in the video, we also try to expose our students to the world here at home through our wonderful international festival, which will this year be held on September 24th. And we also have lots of international students who come to us. In fact, with over 2,000 international students, we are second only to NC State and to in the UNC system in the number of international students, and third in the state to NC State and Duke University in terms of the number of international students who study at UNC Charlotte. I'm going to always remember this night, and particularly the chance to show off a little in front of my kids, if only to remind them that one of the most important things that they can do for themselves and for their children is to send their kids abroad. In fact, some of my fondest memories of my children are associated with traveling with them or watching their foreign travels. And I'll talk about Logan first. Logan spent a high school year in Ecuador as part of a program called the Experiment for International Living, a program that Lisa insisted that he do because she had done it when she was in high school. And her experiment in international living was in Russia. So she actually got to be there. Well, based on what Logan gained from that Ecuador experience, we were confident he could make the most of a 2-week trip to Europe after his high school graduation. So off he set with a couple of his buddies from high school. Now, this was well before cell phones were invented, so the only way I could keep track of these guys was to watch the cash withdrawals from the ATMs as they traveled from city to city. That's when I learned a lot about my son's affection for international cultures. These boys spent 2 days in New York, 2 days in London, 1 day in Rome, 1 day in Paris, 1 day in Brussels, and 7 days in Amsterdam. It must have been the tulips. Now, you're going to meet our second son, Taylor, in a moment, so I'll skip to my daughter, Allie. And I'll tell you a little bit about her understanding of the world. On a family cruise to the Bahamas, Allie volunteered to be one of the subjects of the guest hypnotist at the evening entertainment show in the main theater of the ship. She was probably about 17. When she arrived on stage with several other potential subjects for hypnotism, the hypnotist took note of her very good looks and said, "Well, you're a beautiful young woman. Do you have a boyfriend back home?" And she said, "Well, yes, she did have a boyfriend back home." And the hypnotist said, "Well, I guess that means you can't have much fun on this cruise." And she said, "No problem. These are international waters." So, before I leave you tonight, I want to address one rumor that's been circulating in the last few weeks and even tonight. I've been approached by several people who congratulated me for the award tonight and also upon my retirement. There's no truth to the rumor about retirement, none. As long as Margaret Spellings and my board of trustees still want me, I'm going to be around for a bit. We still have to open the light rail line, finish our fundraising campaign, build a science building. And I'm absolutely certain of. Lisa is not ready for twice as much husband for half the money. Thank you so much. We're very appreciative of your being here. We're honored by your presence. Thank you.
And finally, this evening before we close, we have one more short video comment from one of Phil's 3 adult children, son Taylor, who brings us our program's concluding comments on behalf of the Dubois family.
While my dad's been a very public figure for most of our lives, our family is the lucky ones that get to see him in a more private setting. We're very proud of everything that he does, and I've always been very proud of my father. But one thing is, he's still my dad, and with that comes some instinctive need to embarrass us. I can think about all of the times where he's just a quirky, goofy dude, and you all may not know that. So I remember one time when we were on vacation, we all went to this little restaurant, and I believe we were in the Bahamas at the time, and my father ordered Jamaican jerk chicken. And he ate this, and I've never seen a human being turn more red in my entire life. He absolutely turned beet red and just could not get this hot flavor out of his mouth. We were all just sitting there laughing at him, and he's sweating, pouring, thinking that he's about to die. The waitress comes along and actually ended up putting his head back, prying his mouth open, and just pouring pure sugar in his mouth to calm it down. And that was the only thing that fixed it, but it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. He also has this motto that I think will stick with me forever, which is, don't be clueless. He always says, don't be clueless. So when you see people in the airport that are just bumbling around, they don't know what they're doing, it's one of those things that my dad says that I think is really funny, and that'll stick with us. My dad has taught us a lot of lessons throughout our lives, but I think one of the most important ones is just how important family is. I know when we were growing up, it was always really necessary for us to get together to have family dinner every night, and that's just something that I didn't really appreciate it as I was growing up, but now that I'm a little older, I understand how important that is to really bring the family together. Dad, on behalf of the entire family, congratulations on winning this award. It's a huge achievement. We're very proud of you. Love you very much.
Thank you again, Phil, for all your contributions to the University of North Carolina educational system, and especially here as Chancellor of UNC Charlotte. Your vision and leadership as Chancellor has truly propelled UNC Charlotte to the next level in serving not only your students, but our responsibilities to a global society. At the World Affairs Council of Charlotte, we're looking for people who are curious about the world we live in. We hope that you'll continue to join us at our monthly events, as it is only through the collective curiosity that we become better informed as a community. I want to thank you all for attending this evening and for helping us to honor Phil Dubois and the University of North Carolina, Charlotte.